countries. I mean, the thing is, you've all done this. Right and left have done this. Pinochet in Chile, yes, he's one of us. Another regime in Chile, not one of us. Saudi Arabia, the good Muslims. Iran, the bad Muslims. So what I reject is saying it's all America. It's not all America. It's everyone, every power, major and minor, every religion is playing the game to try and dominate the UN and call it corrupt when it doesn't work their way.
And to say that the UN is a tool of corporate interests is a fiction that begs all credibility.
I would agree with that.
But those perspectives aren't necessarily counterposed. I actually agree with what you're saying, that there are national interests that dominate at the United Nations, and that the war in Iraq, there were a number of factors that motivated some countries not to go to war. I think it was a combination of public outrage and public pressure, but also, for sure, France, Russia, other countries had interest in Iraq, and they saw that the U.S. as a threat. In fact, the U.S. wanted to clear them out. On the other hand, it's also true that the UN, to some degree, despite all its flaws, functions as some kind of arena where there is international engagement. I think what people are trying to find is a mechanism where it's more accountable, it's more open, it's more transparent, and it can have some kind of meaning in the international scene.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable conclusion, actually. As bad as it is, there is still something, surely, that can be gained from it. To try and get rid of it will be a disaster.
I hate to say it, but I agree with everything that you've just said.
The Fraser Institute, Trotskyite Alliance here.
Well, it's an imperfect body, but it's all we've got, given the realities of governments today.
The Security Council is an exact example of where democratization has to happen. That body is an anachronism, right? The veto of these powers is an anachronism. It has to be transformed and changed. That's one of the reform agendas that have to happen.
I agree with you completely. Get rid of France and put India on there.
No, I don't think we need a veto. We need to have a more encompassing, more representative Security Council that doesn't work according to those rules.
I would say in time, if we're going to keep, we should keep China on it, but Brazil will have to get, India and Brazil will be there, France will probably have to leave, and if you really want to look at a country that's going to be very conservative on lots of issues, I would welcome you to India with 1.2 billion people and an economy about to be a superpower financially, with interesting views about Islam. Anyway, back in a few moments on the Michael Coren Show. Well, the new alliances, We'll see you soon. Don't go away. Possible civil war, holy war in Pakistan, the Red Mosque in Islamabad. For some time, the country is divided. I'm not sure it's completely polarized, but a division within Pakistan. And Taliban supporting people within the Red Mosque, a particular form of Islam. And some of the things they were doing, especially a couple of years ago, going out and kidnapping people and closing down various stores they disapproved of, attacking prostitutes and so on. And there was a raid, of course, in Pakistani commandos. Now militants have responded with suicide bombs and attacks. People are dying. This is a very, very worrying situation indeed. Hard to read this. 150 million people in this country, more I suppose, and a leader who is facing re-election, many people who despise everything he stands for, others who will militantly defend him. Civil war in Pakistan?
Looks like that way. You said how to read it. It's impossible to read because a stray event can take it one way or another. And we forget in the West that we went through this ourselves. During the Reformation, there were Protestant armies marching across Europe killing Catholics, and there were Catholic armies marching across Europe killing Protestants. We've seen it ourselves. How this will turn out in Pakistan, I don't know, but it's a global threat given Pakistan's nuclear weapons.
If I may jump there in terms of this war of civilizations, I think it's a very poor way to look at the problem of radicalism and fundamentalism. And it serves very particular agendas. The fact it remains that if the goal is to address radicalism and fundamentalism in the Middle East, the way to go about it is not supporting dictatorial regimes, military regimes, such as the U.S. has been doing in Pakistan. At the same time that this regime...
Is it a dictator?
Well, it's a military rule.
He's a general, yeah.
He came to power through a coup d'etat. He has been really has run over the constitution of the country. Debatable. He has tried to make his regime more palatable and supposedly democratic, but it isn't. It's a very repressive regime. And furthermore, it has a double work supporting and continuing to support the militant groups, the extremist groups in the northwest part of the country. The ISI, the infamous security services of Pakistan, which are closely linked to the CIA and funded by the CIA, are actually channeling money, according to reports, to these areas.
It's over the road from the Red Mosque. It's about 40 yards across the road.
Well,
next door.
the fact remains is that this is a country, this is a regime that has been propped by the West, but a regime that simultaneously has been supporting and using extremism in Kashmir and in other parts, and in the border with Afghanistan as a political tool. A very complex situation. Further